All right, let's dive right in. We are talking about something that I think hits home for pretty much everyone, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed. You know what I'm talking about, right? When your mind just feels like this chaotic battlefield of distractions and anxieties. If that sounds familiar, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to break down a really powerful way to find some clarity in all that noise. Let's get into it.
I mean, think about it. The second you open your eyes in the morning, bam, it begins. It's this flood of thoughts, right? All the pressures, the never-ending to-do lists. It can feel like you're drowning before you've even had a chance to grab your coffee. And that internal chaos, that's the silent battle so many of us are fighting every single day.
So let's start by unpacking this daily mental battle. We're going to dig into where all this pressure is actually coming from and really get to the bottom of why our modern world so often feels like we're in a constant state of, well, mental warfare.
And these sources of pressure, they're so familiar, aren't they? You've got the weight of your actual work, what people expect from you, the whole social media whirlwind of posts and replies. Then you throw in office politics, what your family's going to think. It's just this constant buzz of comparison and pressure that can totally wreck your day before it's even really begun. Okay, so when you look at that list, trying to tackle each one of those anxieties separately, it feels impossible, right? But what if we're looking at it all wrong? What if the solution isn't about fighting 1,000 tiny battles? What if there's just one single mindset shift that could change how you approach, well, all of it? And to find that shift, we're actually going to look back in time. We're turning to an ancient philosophy for a solution that is, believe it or not, incredibly modern. See, the Stoics had this secret weapon for dealing with a chaotic world over 2,000 years ago. And you'll see, it's maybe more relevant now than it's ever been.
And here it is. It's called the dichotomy of control. It's this brilliant core idea from Stoic thinkers like Epictetus. And the concept is actually super simple. You take everything in your world and you divide it into two categories, two buckets. Bucket 1, things you can actually control. Bucket 2, things you absolutely cannot control. And here's the kicker. The Stoics argued that peace isn't about controlling everything, it's about focusing all your energy on that first bucket and learning to just let go of the second one.
Okay, let's make this real. Let's look at modern life. You can control how much effort you put into preparing for a job interview, right? But you can't control if you get the job offer. You control the picture you post online, but you have zero control over how many likes or comments it gets. And oh, this is a huge one for all of us. You can control how you react to being stuck in traffic, but you will never be able to control the traffic jam itself. And think about it. We waste so much mental energy stressing about the stuff in that can't control column when all of our real power is sitting right there in the can control column.
So here's the tool, the one question you can start using literally today. Anytime you feel stressed or anxious, just stop and ask yourself, is this in my control? Someone else's opinion of me, is that in my control? Nope. So why am I letting it ruin my day? Is the weather in my control? Absolutely not. So I'm not going to waste energy being mad about the rain. I'm just going to focus on what I can control, which is grabbing an umbrella. And when you start doing this, when you shift your focus away from the totally unpredictable outcome and onto the process that you can control, your effort, your preparation, your actions, something amazing happens. Your confidence is no longer tied to what other people think or what happens externally. It gets built from the inside, based on the work you put in.
Okay, but here's the catch. Even when we get a handle on what we can control, there's this huge modern enemy that is specifically designed to steal that control right back from us. And that enemy is distraction. So in this next part, let's talk about how we can actually win the war for our own focus.
I want you to think about this. Your attention is the most valuable currency you have. Seriously, it's what you spend to achieve things, to build relationships, to grow as a person. And right now, every single app, every website, every platform, they are all in a flat-out war to get a piece of it. But here's a key insight. The real reason we're always reaching for our phones, it's usually not because we're bored. It's because we want to escape discomfort. The discomfort of a really hard task, or an awkward silence, or just an anxious thought we don't want to deal with. Distraction has become our favorite way to numb ourselves to the tough parts of life.
So how do we fight back? It really boils down to 3 steps. 1, design your day. Don't let your day control you. Start with intention, maybe by journaling or reading, instead of just immediately reacting to a flood of notifications. 2, create distraction-free zones. This means setting aside specific times and places for deep, focused work, with all the notifications turned off. And 3, and this is a big one, learn to tolerate boredom. Just sit with your own thoughts for a while.
That silence, that's where the best ideas and real clarity come from. All right, let's move on to another huge internal battle, fear. We're always told we need to avoid fear, or conquer it, or destroy it. But what if there's a different way? What if we could actually use it as fuel?
Yeah, we really are taught to see fear as this big, scary enemy that we have to defeat. But let me ask you this. What if it's not a stop sign? What if instead it's actually a signpost, pointing you towards something really, really important?
And that's the big idea here. Fear is a compass. Almost every single time, it points directly at the thing you need to do to grow. That fear of public speaking? It's pointing towards your potential to express yourself. The fear of starting that big new project? It's pointing towards your potential for real impact. Fear is literally showing you the path forward.
Now, it's also super important to know what kind of fear you're dealing with. Is it a logical fear, like the fear of an actual physical threat? Or is it a psychological fear, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of what other people might think? Because once you realize that most of our day-to-day fears are just stories we're telling ourselves, that is incredibly empowering.
And here's the secret to dealing with it. The antidote to fear? It's not courage. It's action. You don't just sit around and wait to feel brave. You create courage by taking a step forward. Even one tiny, small step is enough to start loosening that paralyzing grip of fear and get some momentum going. So, as we bring all this together, this whole journey of learning to control our focus, our attention, and our relationship with fear, it's all leading us to one ultimate goal: to build a life that's free from regret.
And let's be clear about what regret really is. It's not just about making a mistake. It's a much deeper feeling, isn't it? It's that ache you get from knowing you did something that wasn't true to who you really are. It's basically a giant alarm bell signaling that your actions and your deepest values are out of alignment. Which, of course, leads us to the most important question of all. How do we start making choices today that the person we'll be in the future will actually thank us for instead of resent us for?
The answer is, we do it by living with intention. It's about consciously, deliberately making choices right now, in this present moment, that line up with the person you actually want to become. It's all about closing that gap between who you are right now and who you know you have the potential to be.
And it all really comes down to these three pillars. First, clarity. You've got to know what is genuinely important to you. Second, courage. You have to act on that truth, especially when it's hard. And third, consistency. You have to live by those values every single day.
So I want to leave you with one final question to think about. Years from now, when you look back on today, what will you wish you had done? What will you wish you had focused on? The answer to that? Well, that's where your work begins.